Last time on Green Shirt, a newbie's trek through the next generation.
Hey, Lower Deck, what do you think about your time on the Enterprise so far?
The only thing that could make it better is a magic sex candle, but I guess I'll just have to live without that.
Not every mission deserves Warp 7. Sometimes they only require impulse power.
Bobby, the worst Starfleet mission still better than
If
the
there's
best.
a Warp 10, there has to be a Warp 1.
You guys, I looked it up on the Intergalactic Meteor Database, and I found that Ensign Johnson served on 3 other ships. You'll never guess what they are.
USS Jag.
The USS Porno.
USS Cop Rock.
Wow, extra pips for all of you.
Nacelles are great, guys, but I can't get over pylons.
And now, the conclusion.
Dun, dun, dun.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Green Shirt, a newbie's trek through the next generation. I am Cameron, who never watched TNG growing up because I was just too busy not being on the wrong side of a mutiny. But here to help me wrest back control of my life, the man who was called Babyface one too many times, Rob Campbell.
How can you call me? I've had a beard since I was born. You can't call me Babyface.
I've seen photographic evidence. The woman who never turns down an invitation to a late-night meal, Bobby Blue.
5th meal? Fuck, I'm on 8th meal, bitch.
And his first time in the guest seat from the Computer Resume podcast, the man who always volunteers to be taken to the brig, Todd Davis.
Hey, everybody. Yes. Those things carved on the walls of the cell, that's all me, baby.
Meanwhile, the man who appreciates your concern for his equipment but doubts it was ever in danger, producer John T. Bolts.
Hey, man, all I got to say is as long as my mic is sticking out of the rock, I'm going to podcast.
Todd.
I'm happy to report I'm not hungover.
Neither.
Just drunk.
No, just drunk.
Okay.
Perfect.
Just drunk.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. We had a delightful time meeting you down in Long Island, where we paneled with you even. I mean, our first introduction was paneling together.
Yeah, that was an absolute blast. I to be honest, that was my first Trek convention. I've been to pop culture conventions, comic book conventions and whatnot, but like that was my first Trek specific convention. And wow, that was a blast.
Nerdy. Oh, blast.
Super fun.
Yeah, it was super great. Well, there was one exchange because for listeners who weren't there, at the hotel, there were like 4 or 5 different weddings going on, as well as this Trek convention.
Yeah.
So Saturday, the big day, I get onto the elevator with 2 individuals who are head to toe cosplay, screen accurate Klingons, I believe. I was in a flat cap Discovery t-shirt and kilt, and this little old lady. So as soon as the doors closed, I said, "Are you here for Trek convention?" She's just like, "No." And I was like, "There's too many nerds, right?" And she goes, "Uh-huh." But yeah, it was an absolute blast. And yeah, our panel was super fun. Podcasters panel. And then I did, what was it? Strange New Worlds with you guys as well?
Yeah, we did the theories and queries for season 3.
I've taken a lot of shots to the head, so if I forget, that's why I have my anniversaries tattooed on my arm, so I don't forget.
They say it's hard to make friends as an adult. Do you think the best way of making new friends is to panel with them, is to just meet them while you host a panel together?
I think putting somebody on the spot and putting a microphone in front of their face reveals a lot about them very quickly.
That's a good start.
Speaking of revealing something about people rather quickly, what is your history with Star Trek, Todd?
So I'm born in '83. My first exposure to Star Trek was TNG. I've mentioned on many podcasts that Deanna Troi was very special to me growing up. And, Jean-Luc Picard actually kind of looks a little bit like my dad. So there was a connection there. And, seeing.
Is he single?
Bobby would like you to make an introduction.
Okay.
Does he have a sister?
Papa Todd.
Hey, there we go.
What's up, Papa Todd?
But I think, seeing, as I got older, I kind of drifted away from Star Trek for a while and kind of started experiencing other fandoms, Star Wars, Doctor Who. I'm a big Batman fan, got into stand-up comedy, and started to come back around on Star Trek probably when the stuff got loaded up to Netflix. I was just kind of like, oh, yeah, let's, I remember this stuff. Let's dive back in. And not long after that, They made the Kelvin Timeline films, and then shortly after that was Discovery, and then I was working as a stand-up comic, still am, and was talking about starting up a podcast. I'm already on a cult and genre film podcast called Cinema Shock, available now wherever you get your podcasts. And I thought, it might be kind of fun to do a Star Trek one. Star Trek was not my first idea for a podcast. I had one for Highlander, the series. I had one for Batman, of course. At least half a dozen different ideas. But in looking at everything, I was like, actually, Star Trek's got the longevity. Let's go Star Trek. And then the pandemic hit. I was like, well, perfect time. Comedy, it was full stop for comedy. So a lot of comedians started podcasts around that time. And I was one of them. Just so happened I was covering Star Trek. And we are now 120 some episodes in. I've had quite a few Star Trek cast members on, a couple of authors, a couple of artists, a couple of game designers, a couple of comedians. The idea is kind of, if two nerds met in a bar, they'd probably find that one franchise that they connect on, but then they would talk about everything around it. And I actually had somebody in real life go, "Hey, I found your podcast." I was like, "Oh, thanks." And they go, "Yeah, it's only kind of about Star Trek." And I was like, "You know what? That's fair." But yeah, we kind of, I'm not big on, at least on my show, I'm not big on like reviewing episodes, because I'm like, ugh, throw a rock, you'll hit half a dozen shows that are reviewing episodes. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I'm more interested about how this makes you feel. Like when you watch, you watch Riker make tough decisions. Have you ever had to make a tough decision that, kind of puts you at odds with your current responsibilities versus your former responsibilities? What does this mean for you? So that's kind of the angle that I come at Star Trek from.
I like that you mentioned that you care about how people feel, because every time I see Riker do the maneuver, I wonder what it would feel like to have a groin pulled, and it hurts.
I was going to say, here on Green Shirt, we talk about how many phalluses you can find in an episode. So
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. All right. That's fun.
Tell us how you feel about the phalluses.
makes me think of when I used to climb the rope in gym class.
that's
Oh
right.
my God. Does that happen to guys?
It does. It's different for sure. But yes.
But you got that sexual feeling I'm talking about? That
So let's talk about this episode of Star Trek,
sorry.
shall we?
Yeah, let's
So speaking of sexual feelings,
Yeah, Star
Different
Trek.
episode.
well, this week we watched Pegasus, the Pegasus, despite there not being a single mythological creature on screen the entire time. So I think we can come up with a better title for this episode. Anyone want to go first?
All of mine are so cheesy.
I'll go first because mine sucks. They suck.
Okay,
so
go
bad.
for it, Bobby. Thank you. Yeah.
My first title is Theoretically It Should Work. And then just if then, like it's a geometric proof or something. I don't know. That they suck. They
Okay.
both suck.
Okay. Yeah, mine aren't great either. I've got the Cloak Brothers, Cloak Heads, Cloak Fiends, something with Coke, right? I don't know. And this one I don't hate. Lock and Key being secrets.
Oh. Love
Nice.
the Lost reference.
Oh.
Nice.
Yeah, so,
Nicely
that's
done.
all this episode's gonna be.
I was going to say which, Stand By Your Bald Guy.
Yeah,
Oh, I like
yes.
that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got nothing, I'm afraid. Sorry.
Wow. Okay. Then apparently my Between a Rock and a Hard Case wasn't that done. 'Cause I'm
that's
amazed
good.
I'm the only
That's
person
really
to make a
good.
reference like that.
That's good.
That or Lock and a Rock. I mean, yeah. Like,
Lock and a
Do
rock.
you think that actor's like, wow, I'm always going to be John Locke? I mean, he did so many things, but he's always
Yeah.
going to be John Locke, huh?
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
I still think of him from Rocketeer. I still think of him as Howard Hughes
Yeah,
from
right.
Rocketeer.
Oh,
I still
remember
think
that.
of him from his prolific JAG career as the renegade, what, captain?
Of course.
I
you
just
do.
think of him from the movie, the horror film Stepfather.
Oh yes,
Yes.
And 1 and 2.
Yes. Good
and
pull.
then John Locke. And then John Locke.
I always think of him as the rich dad from The Cutting Edge.
Oh, yeah.
God, yes.
Topic.
Oh, right.
TV
I
Sweeney.
forgot all about that. Yes. Oh.
There's an Amazon series called Patriot, and he plays the dad. And it's a good series.
Wow.
Oh, that's Patriot
really
is
good.
so good.
Yeah.
See?
Everybody stop listening right now and go watch Patriot.
Shut up.
T-O-F-N Quinn. Terry fucking Quinn.
It's great.
Yeah.
Ah,
He's great.
Love that guy.
All right. Well, we'll get to him. But first, guys, happy Picard Day, everybody.
Yeah.
Hey, we're finally, I've seen the memes for years. I finally seeing it. It's amazing.
Is there an actual Picard Day in real life?
Rob, we have been on the Picard Day podcast festival numerous times.
Yeah, I just didn't realize. Is it always on June 16th, like Google says?
No, I think it's a March.
Well, then the fans celebrated on June 16th because the date's equivalent to the stardate 47457.1, which is mentioned in the episode The Pegasus.
Oh,
Okay.
interesting.
Nice.
Well, what did you think, Cam?
Well, yeah, my big takeaway is that perhaps understandably so, they apparently don't teach handwriting in the future.
And they still use those little brass things that you put through, and then you push down the things to make joints on paper. You know what I'm talking about? What are those?
Yeah.
Did you notice that? The little Picard guy with the moving
brass
joints.
brads. I think they were called brass brads.
Yeah, they still had those in the 21st century, so that's cool.
Yeah.
Why did the banner look so uncanny? Is it because was it like highlight? Like did they
It
edit
looked like it was on like reflective type paper.
Yes.
I'm looking at
there's
a
something
picture
about
of
the paper it was on. It looked fake, or like they had gone over it when they did all the effects
I think
upgrades.
the
And we're like,
overlay. Yeah, it feels
Yeah.
like they added.
It didn't look like that originally.
It looks really weird now.
and yeah, like watching it now, I was like, man, that banner is standing out.
It makes
Like,
them look like they're on green screen.
yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit, yeah. Some of those effects are really crisp. But that was something I noticed because it's been a long time since I watched this episode, but I watched it last night and I was like, man, this looks good. Looks really good. I thought it was earlier in the run and was like, oh, this is final season stuff.
Yeah,
Hmm.
but CGI banner technology hasn't come a long way.
Well, I think they put a
Yeah.
lot more. I think they when they 21st centuryized this, when they what's the word, gentlemen, when they
Updated?
Remastered.
whatever when they
Remaster it.
remaster it.
That's why you're
that
bringing
you get a
Todd
little
on.
bit of that pop. But I also think that they put a little bit more money into this episode in this season originally.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, it's getting towards the end of the run and I mean, it was at the height. Yeah, they probably dumped some money into this and
Do you think they're trying to go for like that? Sometimes you get that kind of shiny, reflective wrapping paper look with
Yeah.
I
the
was
banner.
thinking it was wrapping paper that they
Yeah, the
strung up
silver
and then
wrapping
just-
paper or something.
Yeah.
I bet that will be futuristic, not the the paper cut out with the brass brads.
Right.
Yeah.
So funny.
So the other thing I noticed, and speaking of money, like I understand that most of the extras we see are humans because of money. But then they try to world build by whenever you see names, they're alien names. So even though we pretty much only see human kids except for Alexander in classrooms, it's all alien names on that banner. And then Picard chose a frickin' human for the winner, of course.
Of course he did.
Paul Menegay.
Menegay.
You know what should have been the prize that whoever won would have that displayed on the bridge for a week, and if they in the next episode it was just in the background, whatever it was.
That would be good.
That would be awesome.
You know, it was so funny after, when the credits were rolling, my wife was on the couch with me and she's just like, well, we have to watch the next episode to see how this turns out. I was like, oh dear.
Oh, you sweet summer child.
No. That no. This is the 90s. We're not doing that.
Done.
She's like, why not?
You
I
just
was
saw
like,
how it turns out.
it's like Star Trek in the 90s. What do you do?
Yeah.
You just assume everything works out fine.
But yeah, it wouldn't have to be the next episode because the rest of the episode takes place after they chose the winner. So we've been up there during his negotiations with the Romulan, which would have been great.
Can I just show you one more thing here? Do you think this is the? Do you think that's the head that won?
That's the winner
That
right
is
there.
absolutely the
There's
winner.
a lot to take in. I didn't take in everything. I was overwhelmed with fun things to look at in this.
The
scene.
art
So,
department had a blast on this
Yeah,
cold
that
open.
head is-
So
No,
much fun.
they 2 schools actually did this stuff. They actually,
Oh, really?
yeah, they got
Oh, that's
some
cool.
kids locally to do the Picard stuff.
Which Picard is the real one? Which one's the paper?
It's tough. That's pretty damn close.
Picard is saying, shoot him. He's the imposter, not me.
I want like a Toy Story. I want an episode like a Toy Story where these things come alive and run their own toy starship.
As soon as those doors whoosh close, they all start getting up and walking around. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think we start on an image of the dummy Picard because for the rest of the episode, he's ignorant of the context of what's actually going on with this mission? Is it a metaphorical I do actually like what this opening does with the rest of the episode. It talks about captaincy and them being a role model, either earned or unearned. I mean, it is a good kind of jumping off point for the rest of the episode.
Interesting.
Yeah,
That's true. Yeah.
I just think they missed an opportunity of just not having Riker be like, nope, and just running out with the doll. Will, damn it, get back here.
What do you think he's planning to do with that voodoo doll?
Put it in he's going to set it in the chair as soon as he walks on the bridge.
He's going to put it in the chair, and then every now and then lean
Picard's
over.
going to sit on
it's-
it.
Yep. Yep.
No, before Picard, he's going to send Picard off to go get some Earl Grey or whatever. But he's going to lean over to the doll and go, yes, I agree. Yes. Shields up and let's, warp 9. Let's go. That's captain's orders. Nothing. It's out of my hands.
I'm not the one in the chair.
That's 100% the correct answer, but I really want to see him make a little saddle for Spot and then put the Picard on top of Spot.
Oh, yes.
I think maybe he begins a Christmas tradition like Elf on the Shelf, but it's like all I've got so far in the last 30 seconds is Jean-Luc in a nook, but that doesn't quite.
Picard in a cupboard.
Picard in a cupboard.
Picard in 10 forward. I don't know.
10 forward.
Well, let's hear from Riker himself.
All right.
Let's do it.
Well, they seem to have a somewhat exaggerated impression of me.
I don't know. I think the resemblance is rather striking. Wouldn't you agree, number one?
Isn't there something else you have to do?
I'll be on the bridge.
Say what you will about my Picard impression, but it's a damn sight better than Riker's, I would say. Right?
No.
Right? So much
That's
better.
a good question.
So much better.
No, because he doesn't sound at all like Sean Connery. And
That's my point. Damn it.
That Riker scene is so funny, and I like that they do that, even though then it's like, he's not funny. It's like, I wish there was a little bit more humor carried out. Like, what if Riker kept showing up with like, Picard, we're talking about really serious shit and you don't know about it, but what about this from Picard Day? Like, I mean, why start with that like funny scene and then like never get back to that levity ever?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what TNG does when they have a serious episode. They're like, okay, we got to front load the comedy.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, because you know that Brent Spiner, Frakes, probably most of the cast started making fun of him day one. Maybe not day one, but probably by episode 2, they kind of dialed in that Patrick Stewart impression and they just let it rip for the rest of the run. So I think they've been keeping this in the tank for a while. And finally they're like, you know what? It's season 7. Let's have some fun.
Yeah.
But I think this is also a good indicator because it is a great moment and it does set some things up. But I think looking now at New Trek, Discovery had some wonderfully hilarious moments. Tig Notaro.
Yeah.
I absolutely adore her. I adored her before she was on Discovery. I love her stand-up. She's really, really funny. And then they didn't hold back with the rest of New Trek series. There's been great comedy in all of it now to varying levels. And of course, Lower Decks being the biggest comedy of New Trek. But you can tell that comes from a place of fandom as opposed to the rest where the comedy is coming from classic storytelling. We need a tension breaker. Hell, that's Shakespearean. We need a tension breaker here. So that's stuff like that is really fun to see, especially knowing how heavy this episode is in terms of the moral dilemma.
I just hope that it comes back in the future and like Riker gets caught in 10 forward, like holding it like a Dark Helmet when he does the toys. Like, but it's like the Picard doll and I don't know, maybe like the Troy cake or something. And they're just talking to each other. I don't know. I hope he gets caught later. Just, talking shit.
Lore's disassembled head.
And it also, you got to give a little nod to Patrick Stewart and Jean-Luc Picard, who's so uncomfortable and embarrassed, the uncomfortability you sometimes see, but you never see him so wiggly and wormy in his own skin. And then when he has to talk to the Admiral, he's actually embarrassed, which I think is pretty rare to see him that embarrassed. Maybe it's the first time you see him that embarrassed in the whole 7 seasons.
There was when he got caught with Vosh by Beverly, that was definitely an uncomfortable moment.
Oh yeah.
No, I think his vocal reaction though, this is the most cringy, awkward thing he's ever said. I think is I'm a role model.
Yeah.
Like his delivery on it is so.
The season 7 reaction to Picard Day would be very different than Encounter at Farpoint reaction.
Sure.
Like Encounter at Farpoint, he's a jerk. But this is kind of more jovial and a little embarrassed, just kind of like, here we are.
It's cute. It's cute to see him like that, and then the episode turns, and you never get back to that levity at all. Not even close.
No. Yeah.
Let's talk real briefly about Admiral. Oh, I just forgot her name.
Blackwell, I think.
Margaret.
She's got like the worst Star Trek haircut of all time. Like that doesn't even.
It's not good.
Yeah.
She's played by Nancy Vaughter. Doesn't not have an IMDb photo, which
she's got real vice principal energy of just kind of like
100%.
I know who you are, and you're.
Or she's like the economics teacher or something.
Yeah.
Well, this is her last acting performance. So
this is an interesting IMDb.
Wow. One of 5 roles. Kentucky Woman, Second Thoughts, Hill Street Blues, LA Law, and Star Trek The Next Generation.
That's it.
15 episodes of LA Law. So she actually had a pretty decent role in one TV show, but only had 5 credits.
And she died in November of 2020. It's not like she died, and that's why she's not an actress. She just retired.
Maybe she's a master cellist.
Yeah.
Good for her.
Interesting.
Yeah. You always wonder about stuff like that, because one of the things we do on Computer Resume podcast is we look at the writer, the director, and, 1 or 2 guest stars, because it's usually character actors who've been in tons of stuff. You're just like, oh, I didn't realize this was this person. But every now and then you'll come to somebody who's just kind of, they did like a handful of stuff, and Star Trek happened to be one of them. And then they just kind of pushed back from the table. Okay, I guess I'm done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Well, speaking of director, though, this is LeVar Burton joint, this episode. And I do wonder, does he always get the Riker episodes because he's really into Riker episodes? Or is it because Geordi and Riker don't have a lot of scenes together? Whatever it is, apparently LeVar Burton, though, his take on Riker is he is a huge grump, because that's my takeaway from this and Second Chances is like, oh, wow, you gave us the 2 grumpiest Riker episodes.
He gets that one episode of Enterprise that they started turning into lizard ape people on the planet. And I think that one's the one that everybody's pretty much unanimously decided is the worst episode of Enterprise. In talking with certain people about how the directing track goes for Star Trek, it's not like they get to choose. That was my big takeaway. I think I spoke with Connor Trenier. They don't get to choose these things. It's kind of, you come in as a journeyman director, they slide you the script, and it's this one. So, luckily sometimes you get somebody who's good with the actors, who knows how to work the ensemble and, work with the actors. Sometimes you get someone who's more technically minded, and you get a better looking episode. Or, you get somebody who has an affinity for horror movies, and you get a Roxanne Dawson episode. Like, her stuff, especially on Enterprise, always watched like horror films. So those are really interesting to see. But yeah, in terms of looking at LeVar's stuff, at least on Enterprise, because we're covering the franchise chronologically. So far we've gone through most of Enterprise, season 1 and 2 of Discovery, and right now we're between season 1 and 2 of Strange New Worlds. But you get a lot of TNG cast members directing in Enterprise, LeVar Burton, of course, being one of them. And his stuff always tended to steer more towards a deep character piece. So it kind of tracks, because, this is kind of focused on Riker. If that's how he views Riker, as kind of a big grump, maybe it was the shift, because Picard started as the big grump, and now we see him here as kind of like, I guess I'm a role model. But we had to balance that out a little bit.
It's been a while since Riker's been the fun guy.
I was surprised by Burton's directorial career. I looked it up. He's done a lot of stuff, including Jag.
Ooh,
yes.
We talk about Jag on this podcast more than you'd think.
I'll have more to say later, but I'm kind of keeping my cards close to my chest for now. Last comment about Picard, though, is so Picard has to come up with first, second, third place, and 4 runners up. Apparently, World War III didn't end participation trophies.
Right.
Yeah, that was my wife's comment as well. It was just like, really? That many runners? How many kids are on the ship?
Well, state fairs have been giving those ribbons to people for decades. It's not really a new thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
You
second
know?
and third are technically the runner-ups. I mean, like,
Yeah.
come on, Jesus Christ.
Honorable mentions. They're honorable mentions.
They're
Yeah.
honorable mentions.
Here, we'll give you a fucking ribbon.
I hope to one day at Star Trek conventions that they have a bring your Picard Day craft and we'll judge it. I think that'd be a good event.
Love that idea, Rob.
That's good.
Yeah.
Someone cosplaying as one of the drawings would be great.
Oh, that'd be
or,
awesome.
or the lumpy model.
I am the paper cutout.
Yeah.
It is. It's
But-
my producer's duty to say we're half an hour in and we're on the cold open. So
Thank
Yeah.
you for saying that, John.
Most of my notes are about this cold open.
Congratulations to Paul Menegay, and let's move on.
All right. Good job, Paul.
I might have a hard out at 6.
So I do have a question for all us white people on this podcast. Any jokes about the Crazy Horse, USS Crazy
Oh, boy.
Horse? Anyone?
No.
Any of us daring to make a
Mm-mm.
joke about that?
Well-
It did kind of because I didn't remember, but when I heard it, it did kind of like I was like, okay, all right.
I guess. There's not a lot of ships named after. I guess some of them are named after people. It feels like most of them are places, though.
I don't know. I like
The
the
Crazy Horse is also a place.
shuttles and runabouts are named after places. There's a lot of ships named after people.
If you really think
Okay.
about it, though, a Pegasus is kind of a crazy horse.
Oh my God.
I
So-
did not think about it, but you're not wrong.
Wow.
You're not wrong.
Damn, bro.
Not
All right.
culturally.
Look
Just
at that crazy horse over there.
as a horse. That's a
Crazy idea for a horse.
So,
All right, you did it.
All right, end
We
of
did it, guys.
episode. I don't think there's any more to say.
I did for a minute think that there is a future episode with Native Americans, and I was like, wait, that's not how this isn't that episode, is it? I was worried that I was like, wait a minute. Anyway, that's going to be a fun conversation.
Would this be a good time to do my ship quiz? Are we too far behind
Yeah.
John?
Yeah, that's just perfect.
Okay, great.
No.
Ship quiz.
We're going to get past the cold open, people, but before then,
Yeah, that's all right. Let's just rate it.
we're
Let's
going
move on.
I mean, to be fair, this episode, I think the rest of the episode isn't going to be that long to talk about.
I
It's
agree.
a pretty straightforward story.
We've already gone through a third of my notes.
My
Yeah.
notes
Yeah.
are all just, here's what happened.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Todd, for the segue. Here we go. Real or fake ships quiz, gents.
Real or fake?
There are bonus points if you can name the actual fiction or nonfiction reference.
Oh,
And sometimes there's a bonus point to the bonus point. I will try and
Holy
keep score,
shit.
but
Everybody keep your own score. It's
okay,
easier
here
that way.
we go. So first off, you're just trying to say, is this a real name of a ship or is it fiction, made up? And that made up could be in comics, movies, books, anything. Okay.
All right.
okay.
Sounds
All right,
good.
here comes number 1. Ship's name, Heart of Gold. Real or fake?
Real.
Fake.
Real.
Fake.
If I'm not mistaken, that's the stupid series that I don't like. The dumb sci-fi series with the robot and the 42 and
Star
the...
Trek.
No.
Oh, Hitchhikers.
Hitchhiker's
Hitchhiker's
Guide.
Oh, that's right. It is Heart of Gold from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Universe.
wow.
Galaxy, sorry.
Okay. See, I thought we were sticking strictly to Star Trek fandom. Okay.
Nope,
Gotcha.
it's ships in
Sci-fi.
any
Ships.
fact or fiction way.
All
I don't know who to
right.
give the Hitchhiker's Guide bonus point to. Cam,
That's
John,
John.
you can split it.
Oh, that was John. No, I
well,
just.
you said the name, though.
Well, yeah, but
Just because John
we know
knew
what
it
he
at
meant.
42 doesn't mean shit if you can't remember the name. Fun fact that it's named after as a nod to Neil Young. Okay.
Yeah.
Number 2, fact or fiction of a ship in all capacities, the Beagle.
Oh, that's
Real.
that is
Fake.
Fake.
That is
Fake.
Charles Darwin's ship
Oh,
when he
shit,
was working
John.
on the theory of evolution.
That is correct. It is a real ship.
ah.
And
HMS
extra point to
Beagle.
John.
But there's a story that makes fun of or like parodies the
Yes.
Beagle. I thought
Yes,
you
there
were
is.
pulling a fast one with that. Shit, you're right. Okay.
No. Moving on. Third one, the Gertrude. The
Fake.
Gertrude.
Fake.
Fake.
I'll say real.
Okay. It is fake. And does anybody want to guess at the bonus point? Where that
I know I've heard it.
Anybody?
I don't know.
Anybody?
Yeah, I don't know.
I feel like it's an airplane, but
Well, it's Lex Luthor's yacht in Superman
Oh,
Returns.
wow.
And it's also
okay.
named after Lex's elderly wife, the Gertrude. Okay.
Oh.
Who the dog eats, by the way.
Oh, well, that's interesting. Fact or fiction? The Andrea Gale.
fact.
I was gonna say that's real.
Real.
Is that real?
Fake.
Fake? Okay. Anybody want to take a bonus point guess on what fact, real or fake, what it might be in reference to?
Tria Gale. I mean, it sounds familiar, but I don't know.
It's the fishing vessel that was immortalized in the book and film The Perfect Storm, which was a real
Perfect Storm.
fishing.
Yeah.
So I guess it's fact and fiction, but it's a real book.
Yeah, it's real. Yeah, they died.
All right, here we go. Keep
Bobby,
going.
you got a lot of nuances to this game that I was not aware of.
All ships.
I'm just trying to explain away my poor score at this game.
I love it. Good. Keep score because I'm not. USS Missouri. Real or fake?
Real. Or no, fiction.
Okay.
Oh, wait, the Missouri. That's real.
Yeah.
And anybody know why it's real?
Pretty sure
that was
Pearl
at Pearl
Harbor.
Harbor, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because it was immortalized in the film Battleship.
It's the famous ship that ended World War II by the signing of the surrendering documents.
That's right.
Dang it.
Yeah.
Does anybody know its nickname for an extra bonus point? There's some fan out there listening right now going, "It's this."
Old floaty.
It's Mighty something, and I can't remember what. I think it's Mighty something, but
John, if you keep talking like that, I am flying out to wherever you live now and sucking your dick so hard. Because I love big brains. God, that's just joking to your girlfriend. I'm not going to suck his dick, but I would fly out there and hang out with you. Okay, it's Mighty Mo. Mighty Mo. I'm going to give you
Mighty Mo.
half a bonus point on that.
All right.
Okay, next one. USS Dallas. USS Dallas.
Fake.
That's
a fake ship.
fiction.
fake.
Yeah, I'll say fake.
Okay, anybody have it's fiction. Totally fake.
I know what that's from.
What could it be from? Anybody
Top
have a good guess?
The
I like
Alien
that.
franchise? Is that where the Dallas comes from?
I like that too. That's not it, but I like that guess.
Gears of War.
Don't even know what that is, but good guess.
Thank you.
It sounds like something maybe from the Orville.
Nope.
No,
It's
a
from the
film.
TV show Dallas.
It's a
Oh,
film.
it is a film.
It's not the final countdown.
No.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's The Hunt for Red October,
Oh, yeah.
I was not close.
which is named after a real ship, the USS Los Angeles.
Houston. Oh.
Okay, moving on. The Inferno.
The Inferno is fake.
Fiction.
Fake.
I'm gonna say
Fiction.
real.
I'll say fake.
No, I'm changing. I'm true. Real.
Real. Okay,
I
it
say real.
is fake.
God.
Now, Todd, do you have a guess?
got one.
You got a guess from, you got a bonus point here. Can you guess what the Inferno is from?
The
Is
Inferno.
it Sunshine?
No, that wasn't the. No, that was the Icarus.
It was the Icarus 2. Thank you very much.
Well, Icarus and Icarus too.
It's a pirate ship.
It is a pirate ship.
Is it the Princess Bride? Is it the Princess Bride?
It's a pirate ship. It is not the Princess Bride. It is
Cutthroat Island.
a classic children's movie
Treasure Island.
Time Bandits.
filmed on the Oregon coast.
Goonies.
The Goonies. God damn it.
Really? Oh,
God
wow.
damn it.
Okay. All right. Nice.
I knew that.
One-Eyed Willie strikes again.
I'm going to go turn in my film card now. Jesus.
Here's some fun facts. The scene you see in the movie of the kids seeing the ship is the second take. They had to do a second take. They hadn't seen the ship before this, but they had to do a second take because the first take, evidently, kids, the profanity when they saw it, they had to do it again.
Fuck.
I also love that, like, in one of the DVDs, the director's all talking about this, like, we hid it from them. This was their true reaction. And then, like, 5 of the actors are like, actually, Dick, we snuck into the warehouse and saw it beforehand.
Oh, so it's a third time.
And he found that out on, like, the commentary, the video commentary
so maybe
track.
the kids going, "What the fuck is that? That's the fucking shit!" Like they're like, maybe that was the kids like having
Right,
fun.
yeah.
I love to
good
think
for
of
them.
little Sean Astin just being like, "Holy fucking shit! Look at that!"
Samwise Gamgee just dropping F-bombs.
Just like, oh, look at that ship! Like, wow, that's okay. Let's dial it back a bit.
Maybe he did it all in Spanish too.
All right, everybody back to 1.
There's probably a lot of outtakes of Samwise in Lord of the Rings swearing too. Like, I can't carry the ring, Mr. Frodo, but I can fucking carry you.
Carry your ass.
Carry your fat ass.
I'll carry the ring, Mr. Frodo, right here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
On my dick.
Let's get that washed.
Fucking Tato's dick.
Wow. Okay. Sadly, the ship that they actually spent a lot of time and a lot of money building got destroyed because after filming, no one claimed it.
Oh, no.
How sad is that? They actually
is
built
sad.
it. Okay, moving on. Eventually we're going to finish this. We'll get back to Star Trek, I promise you fans. Okay, the next ship, the Turtle. The Turtle. Is it a real ship, a fiction ship?
Fiction.
Turtle. Fiction.
I'll say fiction.
Okay, it's real.
I want to say it was one of the earliest submersibles.
Okay, now I'm coming to suck your dick.
She's just coming
Yeah,
right now.
it is.
Wow, John. Check out the
And
big
I'm going
brain
to take
on
care of your
John.
girlfriend happily too. Not your dog. That's too much for me. It is the Turtle is the first functioning submarine in 1775.
Did they have like a bicycle
pedals,
for
little
yeah.
propeller? Yeah.
I heard it was made from a real hollowed out turtle.
Wow.
So, as I mentioned, I'm a big D&D guy. Flagbearer Games actually released a 5e compatible adventure from the American Revolutionary War. So if you want your party to have a fleet of turtles, you can.
Oh my god.
It's pretty cool.
Wow.
And they even give stats for it
out.
and everything. It's pretty awesome.
Nice. Okay, we got two more. Okay, two more. We'll wrap this
All
up.
right. I'm actually going to get these ones.
The Flying Wasp.
Real.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that's real.
I'll just say fake for fun.
See, I thought the Flying Wasp was actually a division of fighter planes that they used in World War II that launched from the Enterprise.
You can almost see like Todd's like neuro like his brain.
I think you're pretty close, Todd. Like in my head, it's one of the the first prototype, or the planes launched from planes, like the mini little planes that were carried on or underneath planes. That's what I'm thinking, but I don't think that is.
All right, let's gauge how correct you are by how horny Bobby is. How horny are you, Bobby?
How many dicks is she going to suck for this?
My boner is gone, okay?
Oh,
no. It's inverted now.
Story of my life, gentlemen.
It's inverted and tickling my scar of my belly button on the inside of my stomach. So that's what's happening with it.
Ouch, harsh.
That's how that works.
The Flying Wasp is fiction.
Oh,
okay.
Mm-hmm. All right.
It's from Caddyshack, and here's a bonus point. 'Cause I had a feeling maybe somebody wouldn't pick up Caddyshack. Here's a bonus point. Can anyone say the line that Rodney Danger says after he drops the anchor through the Flying Wasp?
Oh shit.
No. Boy. I'm at a loss.
Something about his wife.
What are you all like? You're all like Adam Sandler fans or something? Like what's?
I just don't know.
Something about heavy metal or some sort of pun. Probably.
He says, "Hey, you scratched my anchor." That's just as good. That's my funny date. Okay, last but not least.
Sorry, my Dangerfield started to go into Andrew Dice Clay.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of indiscernible at some points. Shh! She scratched my anchor. I don't know. Okay.
My anchor.
You scratched my anchor, number one.
Oh, I like it. Last but not least.
Okay. All right.
Is the boner back?
Semi.
All right.
I'm into semi. But my butthole itches. I don't know what that means.
Happens in your 40s. Huh?
Oh, it's at Computer Resume on all the social medias. Please feel free to download and support.
Todd, where'd you go? No, Todd, come back. Please keep guesting.
Good night, everybody.
Let's wrap. Let's Titanic this quiz. Here's the last one. USS Seahawk. The USS Seahawk.
The Seahawk. I'm going to say fake.
I'm going to say
real.
Yeah, I'll say real.
Fake, real. It's fake. Cam, do you have a guess?
I feel like it's animated. That's my only. Okay, fuck it. I don't know.
Really?
I'm sorry. I dried you out, Bobby. What is it?
I'm sorry to do this, but I had to because it's one of the ships most used in JAG.
Oh, John, you gotta turn in your card too.
Failed. Dang
it. Your JAG card.
If I miss Goonies, you miss JAG.
You know what's interesting though is that one of the ships that actually was a real ship used to play the USS Seahawk in JAG is named the Enterprise. That was one of the ships. So
whoa,
that's
nice.
So I had to do the JAG one. I was just curious. I'm not trying to.
Well played, Bobby.
Yes, very well played. That was a good quiz.
Yeah,
thank you.
I lost track of my scores.
So. Thank you.
We'll have to check the scores.
Who won?
In post.
Who won? What's your score?
Not me.
John? is winning at dick sucking, so that's good.
Well, that just means you're winning at life. So,
And your girlfriend, not your dog. Okay, bye. That's it. Okay, bye.
let's talk about John Locke, guys. Let's talk about Terry.
Speaking of
Quinn.
blowjobs. I don't know if we should IMDb him. I don't know if we have time, and I think we already said like 15 roles that he's doing. There we go. That counts, right? Or do we want to? It's fine with me if you do, but I think there's going to be a lot.
We got to.
Yeah, we got to. It's Terry Quinn.
All right.
We know Jag. We know Lost. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not going to look at it at all for you, Rob. I'm not even
Don't
going to
look at
at it. I'm going to keep it like...
He's in 127 things. 127 things.
Wow.
Starting in 1980 in FDR, the last year, he plays James Roosevelt.
Okay. Heaven's Gate was the second film. Nice.
Wow.
All the right moves.
Miami Vice. Twilight Zone.
Advice. Twilight Zone.
Silver Bullet. He's the sheriff in Silver Bullet.
There it is.
Nice.
The Stepfather rated 6.7 on IMDb. Too low. That shit's scary.
Moonlighting.
He came back for the sequel, Stepfather 2.
Young Guns.
Jake and the Fat Man, The Rocketeer. There it is.
Cutting Edge.
Oh, yeah. Tombstone.
Tombstone. Yeah. Earth 2.
Heck yeah.
He was in Earth 2. Oh, I
Nice.
forgot.
In 6 episodes of that.
Ghosts of Mississippi.
One episode of X-Files.
Nice.
Oh, Millennium. He was a main player.
Jag.
10 episodes of Jag.
10
I
episodes
hear
of
ya.
Jag, yeah.
18 episodes of Alias. Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
West Wing.
120 episodes of Lost.
He like switched
Wow.
the TV and like exploded.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm. Castle Rock. Wasn't that a Stephen King thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. It's
really
surprisingly good.
Is it? Okay,
Patriot.
cool.
Yeah.
I agree.
Resident Alien with previous guest.
Oh, yeah. Alice Wetterland. Yeah.
Thank you.
Fuck yeah, Resident Alien. Oh, I love
Yeah,
that.
still acting. We all know him.
Anyway,
Well, that's Terry O'Quinn.
Terry
Yeah.
O'Quinn, he comes on, and isn't Riker supposed to be a good card player? Because he
Yes.
has the worst poker face this entire episode.
Oh, yeah.
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 He telegraphs everything.
Yeah.
Everything. Yeah.
This is a little more surprising than sitting around a table and pretending your cards are different, though.
But the entire episode.
he's breaking his captain's heart. Like, you know?
Yeah, I think this, maybe it's a little too much, but, this is a big life-shaking surprise.
This is the man who ended a season of Star Trek with saying, Commander Worf, fire.
Yeah.
At-
Shooting it.
And
Picard,
Like he is known for staying cool under pressure. That's what
Yeah.
Riker is. That's what any number one is.
Yeah.
I
Well, yeah,
agree.
but he's more confident dealing with shooting lasers at things than he is with things that are going to get him fired if things go wrong. Like this is going to be his out. He's going to get out of Star Trek entirely if this goes wrong.
Yeah.
His trek is over.
It's been a while since I've seen this episode. And like this was high up on the list of like, BDE, big dramatic episodes. And like, man,
sure.
I don't think this is quite as dramatic as I remember it being. Like,
I was interested how John would feel about this episode because you've been plugging this episode, and I'm going to reveal my cards. I didn't like this episode very much, guys.
yeah,
That's
I was
okay.
like, ooh,
Okay,
crap.
but the question is, did any of you supplement this episode with the Enterprise finale?
No,
I haven't.
No?
watched that
Oh,
Enterprise
come
yet.
on. That's part of the story.
I
It's
know
part of
it
his
is.
decision-making process. Come on.
I know, and I do like that, but just as a standalone episode, I was like, ooh, I thought this was more interesting.
Much like the Pegasus itself, Riker could telegraph his true feelings right through 2 kilometers of rock. Like, I just feel like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not in love with the way Geordi directed Frakes in this, or Frakes chose to act. It's just, I don't know.
Mm.
And in general, I feel like TNG has kind of not been using Riker great the last couple seasons. I feel like they've kind of
Yes, I will agree.
they've moved him more to grumpy Riker from like happy-go-lucky Riker. There's a few exceptions, of course, that we've liked in the past
it's
couple
because-
seasons, but
It's because Troy's been getting with Worf. Like, you'd be grumpy too, man.
that was an alternate timeline. He doesn't even know about that.
He's also gotten funnier, though. I mean, it's both. Like, I think he's been
It's
really
satire,
funny
that's
in the
true.
last. Maybe they're just like you're either the comedic relief or you're just the really bright, blue-eyed, yelling, tall man shedding your
that's
hair
kind
all
of-
over the ship. I don't know. Like maybe that's all he can be at this point.
Mhm.
I don't know. I mean, I think he had to be. I don't think he sort of had to act like that for this episode to work because, like, he's really up until the moment they find the device, he's hoping that the device is gone because he doesn't know what he's going to do.
Right.
So the entire time up till they find the device, he's like, playing every possibility in his head. I don't know. It works for me.
But your comment assumes that this episode works, Rob.
Yeah, I don't know that it doesn't. I didn't think that it didn't until just now.
I think you kind of see, because it's described how he was on the Pegasus as this young ensign who, fresh out of the academy, they're talking to him about honor and duty and loyalty, and you kind of see him revert back to that because he's between these two titans, like his current captain and his former captain. And yeah, he kind of regresses a little bit. Just stand at attention, let them yell at me, and then I'll be dismissed. I get that. I've been there.
I found that's what I like most about this episode was his this. You don't know if Riker, he's kind of, it plays that he's both. He did stand up for his captain and then he regretted it. It makes him seem complicated. It's one thing that makes Riker actually have depth.
I like the backstory. I like that we learn what made Riker Riker. I do like that. I just feels like presented it very one note. Riker's very one note the entire episode.
That's true.
I don't feel like there's any surprises or mysteries. Like as soon as he comes on, we're like, oh, okay, he has beef with this guy. This guy's probably an asshole. Second scene with him, he's saying, yeah, remember that secret experiment? Oh, okay, a secret experiment went wrong and it sounds like the crew mutinied. Oh, yep, the crew did mutiny. They're talking about a secret experiment. I'm thinking Philadelphia experiment already. So even the ship in the rock, I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, that's kind of what I guessed. Yeah. I don't know.
I guessed that it was going to be a destructive. I didn't realize it was going to be that the stakes were they betray a treaty. I thought it was going to be that they were some wild weapon that was oh, it's a planet killer or whatever. But no, it's just the stakes are it's a treaty breaker, which is funny to me. But I really did think it was going to be a lot worse than that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So the Enterprise reaches the Devlin system, and anyone who has ever played Wing Commander is suddenly feeling panic sweats by seeing all these asteroids.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, no one played Wing Commander. That's fine.
No, I played a lot of
I played asteroids, yeah.
Yeah.
You got to shoot those asteroids, man, but they get smaller.
You guys aren't that old. Come on. But we meet a Romulan commander who I do love this Romulan. He's one of my favorite parts of the episode.
Yeah.
He's very good.
He is fantastic. He
plays the subtext well.
Oh man, he is great.
Commander Cyril, played by Michael Mack. Mack. He's in
good name.
Generations and Ladder 49 and Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman and Beyond the Rising Moon. He's in
Wait, who is he in Generations?
Ensign Hayes.
I think I remember him in Medicine Woman.
He'd be a pretty old ensign by that point.
Yeah.
He's in 36 Things starting in 1982 Powerhouse TV series.
Okay.
90210.
Hanging with Mr. Cooper.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
The Wire.
I did some Elder Scrolls voices.
House of Cards and Veep.
Yeah.
And then 2016, Malice, Metamorphosis. And
He retire or?
He must have. It doesn't say he's dead.
Huh.
Michael Mack. Nice job.
Yeah.
Another
He was a good Romulan.
Good for him. Yeah, he was. Oh, man, he was fantastic. Because
He's a great Romulan.
Yeah, like seeing the Romulans who, after Balance of Terror, we know, the Romulans are basically cousins of Vulcans, but they're just like super emotional and really volatile and all that stuff. But seeing one that's like sort of manipulative and calculating, it's kind of like, oh,
it was confusing.
I'm a little more concerned about that kind of Romulan.
Yeah, he was more effective, less obviously. He seemed so friendly, and it took me a while to realize he was actually being sneaky.
He'll smile while he slips the blade between your ribs.
He'll make you feel good about him stabbing you.
Exactly.
Picard was giving it right back. They were both played pretty.
Pretty. I love those Romulan diplomatic scenes. Picard's good at it.
Very good. Yeah.
What a pleasant chat.
I appreciate your concern, but we were never in danger. So good. And then Riker and his pal, John Locke, I'm just going to call him Locke the whole time. They're down in 10 forward. I love how Pressman is, he just starts discussing highly classified secrets right in the middle of 10
in
forward.
A bar. In
the bar.
Just,
of course.
Yeah.
Come on.
So Riker, remember that top secret experiment? You're not even whispering. There are aliens probably in this bar with highly attuned hearing. Come on, man.
Yeah. And recording devices everywhere. We know this. Like the ship is just recording everybody all the time.
No, it's not. Otherwise, they would have seen that corpse get out of the freezer in Beverly's Mystery episode.
That's true.
Right. You're obsessed with that corpse.
You really are.
That naked body traipsing through the...
Right. We've learned that there are fewer Ring doorbells in the future than we thought.
That is true.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the scene where, like, yeah, how would this episode be made today? It would probably be like 90% flashback, right? Like, it would be bookended by present day, but the rest would be Riker on the Pegasus.
Yeah.
And I think that could have been really cool and dramatic.
That would have been really cool to see, especially if they shot some stuff post-season with him clean shaven. That would have been kind of cool. And to me, that was the one thing watching the Enterprise finale juxtaposed with this was there was no de-aging of Riker. And to see 93 versus 2004, 2005 Riker.
Yeah.
It was just like, oh, okay. All right.
Now, this is interesting because I know that Riker has a cameo at the last episode of Enterprise. I think he and Troy have a cameo.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I know. Now I'm very confused. What's going on here?
Well, then we'll tell you nothing else. But yeah. Now you know there's a connection. Yeah, he hasn't seen it. Like, this is Cam's first time watching all of this. So he doesn't know what the next episode of TNG is about.
Have you watched any of Enterprise?
I've watched about half the first season. I'm kind of very slowly making my way through it right now.
Yeah.
I would recommend watching it along with the Computer Resume podcast, but you know,
I
whatever you want to do, Cam. It's your world, man.
And then Picard and Locke have their Riker first officer talk. I don't really have any notes on that. Anyone?
It's very much like the Romulan diplomatic episode. Like it is a back and forth of just kind of who's got the upper hand here. And I mean, Picard's no dummy.
Right.
So he knows, I mean, from the word jump, he knows there's something off about this mission.
How did people feel about Picard being so suspicious about Starfleet, so sus here? Like, I don't know if that felt like him, but maybe he's been through enough in the past year or two that he's starting.
Yeah, that was where my first hiccup point was. I'm like, wow, why are we not trusting that this admiral is like on an important, like, getting a ship before the Romulans do? This is a very normal thing. That should be a normal priority all the time.
Yeah.
Why is he all suspicious? Yeah.
I mean, it's true he loves a mystery and he probably doesn't like being in the dark, but
Is he that suspicious, or until like he realizes that the Admiral doesn't want to blow up the asteroid?
I
Like,
think
is he
it's when
suspicious
the
before that?
Admiral doesn't want to tell him what happened on the Pegasus.
Oh.
Yeah, there's that. I think there's two big things here. Let's be honest. He's former Borg. There's probably a lot of admirals who don't trust Picard. And I mean, it gets
That's true.
pretty much clearly stated in First Contact. It's like, yeah, they're sending us to scan the neutral zone because they don't trust. They have all the faith in the world in the Enterprise and her crew, just not her captain.
Yeah.
So, there's probably a lot of that going on too. And Pressman's probably in that group. Now he probably puts on a face because he's got this mission and he knows that this is the greater cause in his mind.
But why doesn't Picard trust Pressman? That's my question.
Yeah.
Why does he?
They could have fixed it with 5 seconds of the first call. If she had been like, only Pressman is to have communications with Starfleet during this mission, or all messages go through Pressman to me, and something like that would have set off his suspicion.
It didn't seem like there's a big enough red flag for him. Yeah.
There was no red flag. Yeah. It's just like, oh, this guy likes Riker and Riker seems uncomfortable, so I'm suspicious. Like, it wasn't enough for me. Yeah.
I feel like Pressman, why is he even telling Riker anything when I mean, I don't know, like, if he's a Starfleet CIA, then who's really in charge, Starfleet or the intelligence?
I mean, Starfleet intelligence and Starfleet security, not to mention Section 31, they all kind of, it's a lot of the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing. Of just kind of like, we trust that, you guys are all working for the greater good, right? And they go, right. Totally. Yeah, we're all working for the greater good. Yes, absolutely.
Sure.
I have a new theory that Riker is acting weird because Pressman was in a wheelchair on the Pegasus, and now when he got onto the Enterprise, he's no longer in a wheelchair. He doesn't need it anymore, and that's weird.
Also, he's used to seeing him smile with an orange for some reason.
Yeah,
right. Yeah. I had one note that I really regret missing back when they were in 10 forward. Real quick, please. Just that they were talking about the experiment. They keep saying, "Oh, the experiment," and I wondered if that was sort of like experimenting in college. If maybe they were just kissing.
Oh, now
if only that had been the backstory.
Rob, my semi just got full.
Nice. They're like, did we do the right thing? That's what they're saying in 10 forward. They're like, I don't know, the experiment. Did we do the right thing? And like, I don't know. I'm still kind of questioning.
Let's be honest. If Terry O'Quinn or Jonathan Frakes winked at any of us, we'd have to go, all right, let's see where this goes.
We're doing this? I think we're doing this.
I'm a married man. I'm a happily married man, but it'd have to be like, okay, this is interesting.
This is going to my memoir.
Yep.
So, yeah, I am confused in the scene with Picard and where Picard likes that Riker would not let his captain go on an away mission, which seems crazy that he would be like, no, you can't go on this away mission when, you know, Captain Picard does whatever the fuck he wants. So this was the first time where I'm like, wait, so does he always follow Captain's orders? Like, or is he always blocking them from easy, simple shit like them going on an away mission? Like, it was getting a little confusing about whether he's a loose cannon or whether he's a rule follower.
Yeah, TNG doesn't quite know. Yeah.
That's the one question I had, is when did the switch flip?
Mm-hmm. Well, I feel like the event on the Pegasus, what we're supposed to take from the episode is the event on the Pegasus is kind of what turned Riker into, I'm going to, do what's right and captains will be damned. Yeah.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
What do you think Thomas Riker would have done? Sorry.
Troy.
Well, yeah, there you go.
He's out there trying to sell it. He's like, hey, man, I was on a ship. And that's probably how the Romulans found out Thomas Riker was trying to sell the technology. That's how the Romulans even knew to be looking for the Pegasus.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, I have questions about why the Romulans want the Pegasus so much. How do they know that there's a secret experiment on board? Do they know there's a secret experiment on board? Because it feels
Pressman
like
says that they're interested because there's experimental shit on it, and they have spies, so they know.
Yeah.
Oh, and Starfleet leaks like a sieve, so yeah.
Yeah, it was the predecessor to Enterprise. They did say that parts of it were integrated into the Enterprise, so that there were.
Yeah. But it also seems like the Enterprise lets them have the Pegasus at the end.
No, I think he just decloaks and tells them, okay, we'll contact you. We're taking the ship, but we'll contact you.
Yeah, they're not going
over. They can't they would have to blow up the asteroid.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then all the Romulans have to do is get close and be like, all right, blow us up then too, and you're going to start a war.
Oh. They don't answer a lot of stuff. Like I said, this rewatching this episode, I'm like, ooh, crap. I should have left this one in the past.
I can see how fuzzy memories, it could be good.
Yeah.
Much like this next scene where Riker gets Batleth on its surface, you're like, oh, this will be fun, but yeah, it's just
more torso in the season 7.
There you go. There's
torso.
Oh yeah, my note was like, other than seeing Riker in his Batleth robe, like, what does the scene offer?
Worf winning a fight for the first time in a long time.
He did just win Best in Show
they
at
don't
the
even
Batleth
show him.
Club. So I mean,
oh, did he? Did he win Best in Show, or did he?
No.
Riker had blue barrels, and he was just Donkey Konging this thing. Like, there you go.
I think Jonathan Frakes was like, wait, Geordi got like half naked view on a. I want at least my very hairy chest and all I mean, maybe
it was LeVar Burton getting revenge for having to be half naked last episode. It's like, all right, Frakes, you're at least showing your nips this time.
Like, if I do this, you have to. Like, it wasn't part of it. That would be even better.
Yeah.
Are we getting like all the nudity-ish you can get on network television from 1993 right now? Like, it's a lot. Side boobs and shit. And
are we nearing the time on television when you could see Sipowitz's butt in
yes, we're getting close to that. We are getting close to that. That was made
the
late 90s,
first bare butt on television from Sipowicz on the cop show.
NYPD Blue.
NYPD Blue. Yeah.
Yeah. That was a big deal.
The more you know.
I'm surprised you don't know more about Sipowitz's butt.
I don't. I'm sorry.
It was a big deal.
Dennis Franz. Yeah, that was a big deal. That was a
big deal.
Yeah.
But on television.
Look, my 90s TV knowledge begins with Saved by the Bell of college years and ends with Sequest TSVs.
Well, Mr. Belding was the second butt on TV. I don't know.
All right, so they find the asteroid they're looking for. I do love all of Data's my daddies are fighting looks he gives. Those are great.
Yeah.
So many.
Yeah, he does. It is a little weird that that he makes a face to no one.
Yeah.
Usually it's performative. Usually he does those faces because it's performative to somebody looking at him. But
somebody needs to tell him that when you're human, Data, and you're feeling that like what the fuck's going on, you don't show it with your face. You
yeah.
Well, apparently he's been watching Riker too much.
Yeah.
Let's get some eyebrow acting in there for Spiner. Come on.
But did you get kind of tired of Spiner's like, hey, but this could be happen. I don't think that'll work, but this could happen. But I don't think it'll work, but this could happen. I was like, oh my God, enough with the like. I got a little bored. Like it was so tediously redundant.
They had to pad some time on this episode, and it's painfully obvious. Yeah,
that's when they could have done all the flashbacks.
Yeah, why? Because there's a lot of drama they could have been chewing on for sure.
Yeah,
that's what lowers it. This like has all the like oomph of a backstory and like the oomph you want at this point, but then it falls flat.
Well, there was a lot of yelling in the next scene when Pressman pulls Riker into Picard's ready room.
Yeah, can you just go into a captain's ready room?
Which ballsy. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Why didn't Data stand up and say, actually, sir, even as an admiral, you must go meet in your own ready room? Like that's like, I don't know. Like I don't know. Like that seems like a invasion.
This is why Picard doesn't like him. This is why Picard doesn't trust him. Is he's a little too comfortable on his ship. You know, he's just
you're yelling around my fish. Yeah. My fish does not like loud noises.
And Pressman says, I'm in charge of the mission. You're in charge of the ship. But really, that means, I guess, both, right?
Yeah.
He should have taken him to 10 forward to yell at him.
Yeah.
It was more quiet there. Yeah.
Everybody, we were discussing that secret stuff. Come on, I'm about to tear him a new one. Come on.
We got part 2 of that.
Gather round.
Yeah.
Is that where you have this next clip from, Cam?
Yeah.
Okay.
I hope you understand that it's necessary.
I understand that you think it's necessary.
That is really emphatic.
And that's kind of the level of writing for Riker this whole episode. Nuh-uh, you go to bed.
Yeah.
Like that. What does that even mean?
You're not my real dad.
Exactly.
Actually, if Riker wouldn't have been so emotive and he would have been stern, I understand that that's what you think is necessary. But sir, like that would have even been better because at least Riker wouldn't be like a 13-year-old. Nuh-uh. He would have been like, he just been talking professionally 12 years later, but he goes back to what?
He's very unprofessional this episode. Like it's the opposite of the competency porn we come for.
It's supposed to be his defense mechanism to the ship and to Picard and his crew, I guess, but it doesn't come across as strong.
Well, I don't know, man. Like he's reverting to 12 years ago.
Rob
because
loved
all of a
this
sudden
episode.
I don't love it, but I think it's pretty good. And he's reverting to his like suddenly he's suddenly faced with 12 years ago, and he's reverting to 12 years ago when he was.
You mean
because this guy has this power?
Oh, you're saying, Rob, that
Pressman has this power over
taking
him.
this opportunity to resolve the conflict from 12 years ago, so he's fighting it out like now in real time to do the past
This
cleanup.
is something he's been imagining. Talking to Pressman about figuring this shit out with Pressman. For 12 years he's been trying to like deal with this, and now he's like thrust back into
Actually, I like that.
Just standing there in the sonic shower. I know you think that's necessary.
That's why he's having issues with Troy.
Yeah.
Like, you seem distracted, Will.
I think that's a really good point, Rob. I didn't think about that. Maybe he's regressing because
it's the two Rikers. This episode is about the two Rikers. We all have two Rikers inside of us. The Riker from 12 years ago.
Can you fit two Rikers inside of you?
We could try. We can all try.
I can.
That's the experiment.
This is the new Riker.
Yeah.
New Riker and old Riker are inside main Riker's head, going back and forth. He's still like he is new Riker, but now he's suddenly got to address issues from 12 years ago that he didn't fully comprehend.
Riker's inside me.
Yeah.
So if he were regressing, he'd go back to the 6 months out of Starfleet yes man guy. So he's not regressing. He's not turning back into the yes man.
He's regressing to the moment.
I like what you're saying, Rob. I like what you're saying that yes, for 12 years, he's kind of been practicing what he should have said. I get that. I think that's what he's doing. I still think he could have been more professional. He could have been more professional about it than coming across as like a petulant 13-year-old.
He's also carrying like the burden of knowing what he did in retrospect was wrong. All 12 years, you know?
Yeah, he hasn't stepped forward. I mean, he has not stepped forward. He is not.
But he was also ordered by like the Starfleet Secret Service. Like there's all this talk about, oh, Riker, you're going to have some questions. He was following orders from Starfleet.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the conspiracy went all the way up. I'm also bumping on the end with that too. Like this was Starfleet. Like Starfleet broke the Accords. This wasn't one random admiral.
No, this was engineers. This was designers. This
you
was
know who doesn't follow orders from
Yeah.
Starfleet when they're wrong? Picard doesn't do that shit. So you don't have to follow orders from when they're wrong. That's the whole point of this episode.
What is Picard eating?
I have no idea.
Oh,
It looks like a deconstructed sushi rolls.
totally. He's got a bowl of rice and he's got, I don't know, something that looks unbelievably not replicated. It's a little too much for him. I actually thought,
Yeah, right?
Jesus Christ, what are you gonna go give that to Spot? What are you gonna do with it? Like,
Yeah, he's like freaking lips manless over here, just chowing down.
yeah,
For all you
Exactly.
Dick Tracy heads out there.
Jeez Louise, what a pull. Oh, man.
I'll tell you where that ship came from.
Yeah.
also, but maybe what Picard does is when he's like, I have no choice or information what's going on, I'm getting all the sushi. And he's like, fuck off. I'm
Sushi
gonna
party.
order it all and sit here until I know number one's coming in, and then I will set down my little rice bowl and crucify him.
Picard's just binge eating. He's like, I don't know what else to do. Just gonna depression.
Exactly.
Earl Grey just isn't hitting the spot for me. So
He
I'm gonna
Earl Sake that shit up is what he did.
Yeah.
He had like fucking so much sake that night.
Cheat day.
It's synthesake in the future.
Yeah.
Picard just stumbles around drunk on sake. Well, how many Rikers are in you? So I'm pressed, man. I don't see you mounting any chairs like our boy Willie.
Yeah, he's like, you've been too much wasabi this whole time. You know, it's too spicy, Riker. Calm it down.
Riker, there's some, looks like there's some forbidden knowledge. Well, let me in on what happened. What happened? I know you weren't supposed to tell anybody, but it's just me, your captain.
Riker, what did Daddy number one do to you?
Willie, tell Daddy. Just tell Daddy what's wrong.
Willie,
Will, point on the Picard voodoo doll where he touched you.
Oh,
Oh,
Do you want to spit polish my head?
What does that mean?
Wouldn't you like
Exactly
to know?
what it sounds like.
Bobby,
Come on.
feel free to weigh in on this, on spit polishing my head.
spit on and see what happens. You know, like
It's when the Hawk Tua girl leans in. It's like, I got this.
oh wow.
So I like how it starts with Picard just being like, yes, let me in on the hot gosh. But I don't really know if I buy how heated it gets from either of them. I feel like they would both be understanding of the other person's position.
Yeah.
I thought that too, and so I, had to consider why he wouldn't be, and it's because Picard is like, if you know something's wrong, even if it comes from orders from above, you know to not follow those orders. Like Picard is all about that. He always has.
You
been.
saw me on the drumhead, right? You saw what I did.
But I was like, oh, wouldn't Picard respect the orders that, like, oh, I understand that Riker can't talk to me because of the higher up orders, but I think he has an idea. He knows that the higher up orders are wrong.
Yeah.
But
or
he doesn't.
has an
Why does
inkling.
he know
He
they're
has an
wrong?
inkling of
He has
it.
no
Because
reason to suspect
he
they're wrong.
knows Riker. Like he probably just can see through Riker's little blue eyes, you know? Like maybe I mean, Picard's not an
all
idiot.
this
He
stuff-
knows something's going on.
He doesn't like being considered or his ship or his crew being considered
Yeah.
expendable.
That's
He's a student of archaeology. He's seen
Yeah.
he's seen empires rise and fall, and he's seeing this come down the pike. So it's just It's
He also
listen,
realizes when the Admiral is not even going to consider blowing up the asteroid that that's it. That's all you have to know is they're protecting something I don't know about.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was a moment for him. Yeah.
Yeah, and I love the Mr. Data, please note, and just very, very
I love
clearly.
Oh, that's
please,
a great.
Please
yeah.
note in the date and time in the log.
And Spiner does it so good.
Mr. Data, will you please note in the ship's log that this action is being taken over my explicit objection?
It is so noted, sir.
Yeah, possibly one of the best moments of the episode. I just love Data's reaction to like all the dick measuring going on in this episode.
Yeah, like Data knows like what Data would usually say is like, yes, sir, or noted, sir. But he says, it is so noted, sir. Like to get those like 2 to 3 extra syllables in. Yeah, fuck yeah, Data. Way to stand up. Like, I love it. Android rise. Woo!
Yes. Yes. Yeah. It's you know, for all, I mean, and part of that's got to come from spending as much time with Picard studying Shakespeare, but also spending time with Riker at the poker table of just kind of, I understand what's going on, at least some of the subtleties going on between these individuals. So I will add in these few extra syllables to really.
I mean, a mutiny mutiny is like never happens. He is shocked that a mutiny happened, and the fact that the Federation is covering it up, that is fucking fishy. It's just like Federation's covering up a mutiny.
I don't know. I'm just going back. I wish there had been a bigger red flag early on where like it was implied that the Enterprise would be expendable, and that would set Picard on this path of being like, what the fuck is going on here?
I didn't notice Picard being that fish like that. I don't know. Maybe I just didn't notice him being that suspicious until increasingly suspicious. I didn't think he was like right off from the jump. But.
Well, and if that's happening behind the scenes, then Picard is an ant too in the anthill, which is hard for I think fans to imagine that like he's so far below from the real decisions being made.
Man, you guys gave this a lot more thought than I did because I was like they were saying, "Ooh, it's out there somewhere," and then it's just like, there it is. Found it.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, that's right. This episode, they just find it.
Well, so you wanted to be an episode about them looking for you wanted them to look for a ship the whole episode.
Honestly, the cat and mouse with the Romulans was one of the most interesting parts of this episode.
Was the most interesting part. And they're like, nope, found it. Pretend we didn't find it.
Yes.
Okay, go back. Yeah.
That wasn't, I don't know. You just said it in a way that was boring, but it wasn't. I'm like, yeah, no, they found the ship and then they had to pretend they had to ionize it with radiation and pretend it wasn't there and fool the Romulans. Like, if I said it excitedly, so.
That was boring as fuck. What are you talking about?
I thought it was interesting that Riker has that moment where he starts to suspect that the Romulans found something and then gets interrupted. And it was a very, kind of like a very naturalistic moment for TNG. That I feel we've seen only a couple times and usually involving Frakes. For some reason, like Frakes always has like the natural laugh. Like you could tell like he actually corpsed and they left it in the episode or like the talking over each other or the false starts. Like that always comes from him.
Yeah. He's good at that.
I don't know. I've got another line from the scene.
Oh, let's hear that.
This chasm is large enough for us to maneuver in.
That's what Rob said.
What? Why did I say that? Why would I say that?
That time we went ATVing through the canyon, Rob?
Right, that's right.
Also, tell your mother I said hello.
There's also talk of a put the fissure on screen before that.
Oh, yeah.
Dirty cracks and open holes. I mean, that's what that should have been my title.
I was going to say, is that the title? Is that the subtitle of this podcast episode?
That might be the podcast title. And then we have one more clip from this scene. I like the scene.
Ensign Gates, plot a course into the chasm. Maneuvering thrusters only.
Course plotted, sir.
It's Ensign Amazing Race got her first line, other than the singing last episode.
Named and first line, yeah.
She barely got it.
Barely.
She did.
Oh, why? How so?
It was supposed to be data line.
Oh.
And Brett Spiner and somebody else was like, no, it makes much more sense that this person who's doing that actual shit you want her to do, she responds to it. So
they decided to pay her.
Yeah.
I thought it might be that like they had her sing last episode and then they're like, oh no, you have to give her a SAG card.
Nope,
and they're like, well, since we're paying her.
They said it makes more sense that this person in this role would actually say that on the bridge.
That's awesome.
And they were right.
Yeah. Well, now I hope we get to see Ensign Gozer get a line sometime too.
So
nice.
this may be a little too this may be a little too nerdy. If you're trying to do this deception game with the Romulans, wouldn't you? And again, it's tight quarters in that chasm. Wouldn't you separate the saucer section and have the saucer section like be a decoy? Yeah.
Well, then they'd probably get suspicious that they had separated and couldn't find the other half.
I mean, if you're playing cat and mouse with the Romulans, wouldn't the Romulans just cloak?
Yes.
Yeah, that makes a little more sense too.
I figured they couldn't do the scanning while cloaked,
right,
so they had to be uncloaked to so it's kind of a race.
I don't know. I would have been like, for 3 days, let's cloak and just let's shadow the Enterprise and see what the fuck they do, and they would have won the lottery.
Well, my headcanon was because the reason they go in is like, oh yeah, the Romulans are beyond scanner range right now. So I think the Romulans went beyond scanner range, cloaked, and then came back and started following the Enterprise, and that's how they knew they went in.
We've talked a lot about Star Trek caves, and now we get the whole ship in a cave. Like this is like the culmination of all the caves. And also, I hope when they eventually fly out, I hoped that like the worm monster would they were inside of a worm monster the whole time. Which, by the way, I looked up because I wanted to know more about that creature. Which I feel like nobody. It's simply known as the Big One. The tunnel was the gaping maw of a giant space slug named Sayo. So that's a fun new. I knew all the obscure Star Trek or Star Wars facts, but I didn't know that character.
Was it wearing one of those red and white name tags?
Yeah. Hello, my name is Sayo.
Yeah,
that's right.
Why is there no action figure of Sayo is my question. Anyway.
So Riker and Locke beam aboard the Philadelphia experiment, and this is where I'm like, how did this episode make the Philadelphia experiment boring? This is one of like my favorite science fiction tropes, and I'm just like, I don't care at this point, guys.
Well, this is interesting. I'm glad to hear that from other people like that. Like you can be like, huh? Okay.
Like we've seen the ladies trapped in the floor in the Data Gets a Date episode. Like that was terrifying, and this was like, okay.
And why is there still like a fresh body laying in the?
Well, it was open to vacuum for 12
space,
years. So,
Yeah.
But my question is, so they put the shields around it, and then did they fill space with oxygen? Where did they get the oxygen? How are they able to walk around it now? They can stop the vacuum, but they still need oxygen.
I don't know. How does it not stink terribly as soon as they put the oxygen in there? That's what I'm curious about.
I've wondered that. Why would anyone teleport off the ship not in an EVO suit?
Sure.
Anyone, anywhere, any planet. Why would you not go in an EVO suit?
Rob's brought this up many times. Actually, it's a good point.
My point is always that, like, because the computer told them it was fine. Like when people complained in, that Aliens sequel, they're like, "Oh, they're so dumb. They took their helmets off." And I'm always just like,
Prometheus. They
look down at their wrist. The computer, it's science. The science said whatever. It's fine. So like, let's not worry about it.
Yeah. I guess the computer can tell them that magically every planet is fine for humans to breathe on. But
in this case, I think they may have addressed it, but I don't know. Like,
they said there was a breach, and they said, "Oh, it's been open to space for 12 years." It's just my problem is like they kept saying how this was open to space. I'm like, okay, well, how are they breathing now? Yeah. Just because you put the shield around it doesn't mean you can breathe.
Yeah. Why didn't the bodies get sucked out?
Yeah. Why didn't they?
Yeah, when it rephased. Yeah.
Why didn't the bodies get sucked off? That's what I want to know. Right,
yeah. Why didn't they?
Yes, let's get both Rikers in each of those crew members now.
Yeah.
And then the smoke monster showed up, and
we've gone off the rails here, guys.
You got it.
This is fun.
They have to spin the wheel. Right now, they have to spin a wheel. I remember the end of Lost.
There's a giant foot. Why was there a giant foot in this spaceship? Yeah.
Yeah.
Andrew Divoff was stuck in this shuttle the entire. Was he the one in the
Hurley's
hatch?
there. Hurley's doing something.
Andrew Divoff. No, it was
Andrew Divoff was in Lost somewhere, right?
Yeah, but he's not the one in the Swan.
Who was in the hatch?
Oh, Desmond was in the Swan.
Oh, no, the Highlander, right? Was it Clancy Brown?
Well, Clancy Brown and then Desmond, yeah. Clancy Brown.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Recruited Desmond.
I forgot about God, it's been a long time since I've seen that show.
Not Picard's ship.
I've got a heart out in 20 minutes.
I heard that.
Okay.
Sorry.
Copy that.
Do you really, or are you just trying to get us to hurry?
I really do. I have my bowling team at 6:15.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Wow.
Okay. All right, so I love that Riker goes, "I've made my decision. I'm going to stop you." All right, here, let's get the experiment beam onto the Enterprise. Oh, yeah, why don't you go hide in your quarters, and I'm not going to say anything about it until it becomes a life and death situation for me. Where's the fucking drama? He doesn't make a choice. The only choice he makes is when he has to save his own skin. That is this is where the entire episode falls apart.
I agree.
Well, how did the transporter operator not say anything?
Oh yeah, well, I know, like Locke comes on jugging this like giant experimental warp thing.
Captain, just so you know, they came back with this big glowing tube thing. You know, just noted in the log.
They actually transported them into the middle of 10 forward and it was fine. So
I'm not fully like my brain's half. At the end of the day, I'm like half asleep. But I don't know. What's your problem? Like you're yelling about something, and I'm like, what are you yelling about?
The whole episode is, as you said, Riker's like hoping he doesn't have to make a choice. He's hoping that somehow, like, I like when he says that, like, I was biding my time. I was hoping we'd get here and the choice would be made for me. But now I have to make a choice. And he says, I'm going to stop you. I'm not going to let you do this. And he says that, but then they beam off with the device. He doesn't say anything. The guy puts the device in his room. He doesn't say anything until he's like, oh, by the way, we're stuck here, and to save our lives, we can use this device. That takes the whole drama out of his choice.
I agree. Yeah.
How would you all feel because I was kind of surprised neither one of them took a phaser. So how would you feel if somebody had taken a phaser and, you know, Riker says, hey, look, I'll take this equipment. You're staying here. You're staying. You're going down with the ship. You're staying here. How would you guys feel about that?
Would have been more interesting. Yeah.
All right.
I guess I
throwing
didn't
that out there.
My pitch was I kind of wanted him to like the captain. I think I would have gone with like if he had been like, Captain, and they would really liked each other. And
Yes.
over the course of the episode, he figured out what really happened 12 years ago and then had to make the choice and turn on this captain who he had always idolized. I think for me would have been more interesting. It would have given more of a journey to the episode.
We hadn't spent that cold open looking at all those drawings and clay models. Jeez.
All I can say, I don't know. I don't know how to defend this episode because everything. Like, I feel like every scene you don't like is like, well, I thought it was going to be the Philadelphia experiment, but it wasn't. I thought he was going to do this, but it didn't. It's just a.
Well, Rob, what do you love about
everything
it?
you don't like about it was you. That's like there was an earlier one that I forget already too.
You barely said anything this whole like recording. Like, why don't you go 3 minutes uninterrupted?
No, I've already defended a number of things.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's
I've been defending. You should re-listen. I've said
it'll be a good episode. Listen to it, Bobby.
Yeah, like rate and review, subscribe.
I think you were expecting. I don't know. Like I don't love this episode. I think it is kind of boring, but I didn't like. It sounds like a lot of times you were expecting it to go one way.
Okay, well,
upset that
to
it
Bobby's
didn't.
point, Rob, defend Riker's choice. Defend the dramatic climax of this episode. Tell me what the climax of this episode is.
I wish I remember this episode better. I wish I paid better attention.
That's why you enjoy it. If you don't pay attention to it, it's fine.
No. I wish that I
listen. You get drunk. You get drunk for the recording, not for watching the episode.
Let me rephrase. I wish that I'd paid more attention. The plot was like kind of hard, a little bit hard to follow. It wasn't the plot that was hard to follow. It was. I spent a lot of time trying to figure out Riker's motivation, and I was thinking about character the whole time.
Yeah,
you were really focused on plot, and I was less focused.
I don't.
You wanted him
focused on Riker's journey as a character. But
I didn't think of the scene on the ship as like the big decision scene. I thought that was part of the like his ongoing struggle to decide what to do, and we decide what to do.
His line is, "I have to make the choice now,"
and then a ship shakes and interrupts that choice. The ship is in danger and interrupts that choice, and then that choice continues to the next scene.
And then when does he make the choice? What is the impetus for him making the choice?
I can't, like, what's the next scene?
It's him. It's them saying, we're trapped in here. And he goes, well, Captain, actually, we have a way out. See, we have the secret device that will open.
Yes, exactly. When he reveals the device against the orders, he defies orders and reveals the device to Picard. He does it in the next scene. That's the thing. But
not because it's the right thing to do, because it will save their lives.
Exactly.
Well, he was planning. I think when he tells the guy, I'm planning on telling them about the device, and then he does so, I think that's when he made the decision. That's why I don't have a problem with it.
I can see where you're coming from, Rob, because it is a common storytelling thing where somebody's like, all right, it's time for me to speak up. And it's like, oh God, fate has now, either what I was about to say doesn't matter.
He was planning on disobeying orders. Then also they needed the device anyway. Maybe it sucks that the two things are the same, but the two things are the same.
Okay. And then there's Picard's reaction. Let's hear Picard's reaction.
Yep.
How can he close me up? On what ground? I'm shocked to find that gambling is going on in here. You're winning, sir. Oh, thank you very much.
I mean, what can we talk about? How great Casablanca? That movie is almost 100 years old, and the script holds up.
Still kicks ass.
God.
Yes,
so good. Yeah. But I kind of got that vibe. We're like, oh my God, this device defies the Accords. We could never do that. Quick, plug it in. Let's get out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd say my biggest issue with this is like my usual issue with that everything has a USB plug. Everything is coax or whatever. They just like, we'll just plug it in and it should work.
I mean, it did take 8 hours, I guess, at least. They did say that.
Well, that's good because it took 7 seconds to unplug it from the other ships. It's like, man, 2 connectors and it took 8 hours to make that
also,
work.
Didn't they just establish that this thing was not working and was dangerous?
Yeah.
I don't know.
But they're like, oh, we figured out why. Yeah.
It was dangerous because remember the people that knew what they were doing abandoned ship and left the crew.
Well, Riker had said there was an explosion beforehand that killed people, but that might have been a lie. I don't know. Yeah.
And then they didn't know what happened to cause the second explosion. And they're like, well, they didn't know what they were doing. They weren't the people that were actually in charge of this machine.
Right.
Yeah. I do like the original ending where they're just sitting there going through the rock and Journey starts playing and then it just cuts to black. And, we don't really know whether they made it out or not,
What's that from?
Sopranos.
The Sopranos.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Missed that one, too.
They should have called this the Kitty Pride, device, I guess. I don't know.
Nice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, to your point, Rob, and then like all of this like pip clutching that Picard and Riker are doing based on this Treaty of Alderaan.
Pip clutching. Love it.
There's no visceral reaction. Like, we don't bring this baggage that they, as characters, bring to it. So we're just like, oh, yeah, I guess you don't want to defy the treaty. Like, yeah, it would have been nicer if it had been something more like where we as an audience member could be like, oh, my God.
Yeah. But then again, thinking back on it, if it was a deadly planet-destroying device, Riker wouldn't have had such. I mean, the fact that it's just a treaty is
that's true.
But this thing that made I don't know. Yeah, it's a life or death because people. I don't know.
I mean, but they, once they get through the rock, Romulans just WTF, and
we guess we don't get.
We're going to be contacting your government shortly. All right.
Well, yeah. I mean, again, Starfleet made this device. Like, by using this device, Picard is risking an intergalactic war right now. Like, it is now. Romulans know that they have defied this treaty.
Yeah, but they can say 12 years ago we fucked up, and
they could say that.
Yeah, and I think Picard's saying, "Hey, look, this is me fixing it by revealing it to you and telling you now."
But they could have just flown away, and then no one would know. Like, if you're going to use it right.
Actually, the treaty said no cloaks. It didn't say no interphasic cloaks.
Right. I did keep waiting for Locke to say that. Like, it's not really a cloak.
Yeah.
It's cloak-ish.
Yeah, it's cloak adjacent.
Cloak adjacent. Yeah.
We could urge them not to tell.
I mean, I would agree that
that one's for you, Ramon.
Oh, Ramon. I just feel like him decloaking is very unwise. You can come forward and be like, I'm the one that said we will leave and we will tell everybody about this, but you don't decloak in front of a ship that's immediately like going, holy shit, Romulus, get ready. And they'd be like, what the fuck? Hey, Klingons, did you hear what we just heard from our Romulus ship out in the lake? And the Klingons would be like, what the fuck? And then Worf would be getting texts and Worf would be like, shut up.
I'm now just picturing like the Romulan news network being read by Bobby. Bobby is the Romulan news anchor. Just does like one-man shows of what went on.
And then Cardassia's like, oh, really? Like Mr. Burns. Oh, I don't know.
Well, I have one more note. I know we need to wrap up so we can get Rob to his bowling game. And he can take out all his frustration with us on those pins.
Well, I'm fine. I'm actually like you're yelling at everybody. You're the one that gets it. You're the worked up. No. I mean, I thought it was fun. I find it funny that you're the worked up one. Not usually, but we take turns being the one that's yelling at our microphones. I don't.
We got to spread the wealth. We got to spread it.
Yeah.
I want to end on a high note by saying Riker's look to Picard when Terry O'Quinn is like, "All right, I'm taking over," is fucking priceless and Riker's best moment of the episode.
Yeah.
We're just like, oh, let's see how this plays out.
Yeah, because I think the only thing that could have punctuated that moment a little bit better is when Worf crosses his arms. If he'd have just gone, he'd have just given it like a good, like, I won't do it.
Or double birds.
Yeah. How do you feel about these?
Yeah. He unfolds his arms, double birds.
Load
That's right.
these into the torpedo tubes.
I've got 2 great birds of the galaxy for you.
They decloak my birds of prey.
They're showing the middle finger fans. Lots of middle fingers. I think the episode should have ended with just a long queue outside of Deanna Troy's counseling office.
Yes. Yeah.
Riker gets arrested and Picard breaks him out.
And then it kind of just ends.
Yeah.
Yeah, how long is Riker in there?
Picard forgives him.
30 minutes.
Yeah. He should have had like a tray of food or something sitting there.
Yeah.
Just like bouncing a ball on the wall.
Right.
All right, Rob, how are we rating this episode?
Let's see. We can rate it on, number of sexual feelings from climbing the gym rope, the rope in gym class.
How many feet of the gym rope you climb to watch this episode?
How many Picards and Cubbards? How many lumpy clay busts of Picard? Bobby said itchy buttholes earlier. Itchy buttholes.
How many Picards fit in each of us?
That's what I do have. How many Rikers?
How many Rikers? Yeah. How many Rikers are fitting inside of all
I think
of
that might be the answer.
Might be,
yeah.
How many smoke monsters?
Yeah.
How many orange slices in the teeth?
We can only rate it 4, 8, 15, 16, 23, or 42. That's the rating scale.
That's it. That's it.
I can't even read my last note. It's really unreadable. That sucks.
How many pips clutched?
Oh.
How many Rikers are? Ooh.
How many Picard Day runner-ups?
Oh, that's good.
Oh, there you go.
That thing that has nothing to do with the whole episode.
You get to choose, Rob.
Go ahead.
Let's do first through 10th place on the Picard Day submissions. Yeah, for sure. God, I don't know if I want to go. I don't want to. I just.
I don't really. Bobby, you start.
I'll go. I have no problem being decisive or opinionated, which I'm sure you've heard over the last, I don't know how many years I've been on doing this. So I'm going to give it a 7. I wanted to give it higher. I kind of wanted to give it lower.
That's so high for you, Bobby. That's like the highest score you've ever.
I thought you were going much lower than that.
It's like the highest score you've ever done.
Is lower better or is lower?
No, lower is worse. 10 is best. 1 is
10 is best.
Oh, okay.
Higher is better.
Yeah, the placement kind of messes that. How many Picard Day drawings would you make?
Just say 10 is always the best.
How many ribbons you earn? How many? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It doesn't really matter.
So, I mean, I think it probably is worth being rated lower, but I understand like what it's like the importance of this episode and what it's trying to bring up. It just does it very poorly. Why I don't rate it lower than some of the other episodes that are probably even better than this is because I'm human, folks, and I make strong decisions and then I recalibrate. Darmok, and that's it. 7.
All right.
I might go lower. I might do the reverse. I might go lower next time I talk about this episode instead of always being like, it's worth higher. So that's it. 7.
All right. I mean, I want to acknowledge, and we're going to get to this, that I understand this is a beloved episode. On paper, I should love this episode. You've got Terry O'Quinn. You've got Riker's backstory. I mean, you've got built-in drama, and you've got Philadelphia Experiment shenanigans. On paper, I should love this episode. I was really bored and found the ending very unsatisfying. I will give it a 5.5 for the cold open and Terry O'Quinn. They push it up. They push it up, but that's it.
It's a pretty quick cold open, isn't it?
I know.
I've never seen the Philadelphia Experiment, so I didn't compare this. I didn't hope that this episode would be that instead. So I'm going to say 7.5. I can see an argument for it being boring. I don't really see an argument for it being out of Riker. The fact that Riker's acting like this made me wonder why Riker's acting like this. Not that he's not acting the way I expected. I'm like, oh, he's acting like this. What does that tell me about how he's doing it? Like I work backwards, I guess, or maybe that's the right way. Like I feel
like Riker has been acting more and more this way the past like 2 seasons.
Perhaps. I mean, he's not the Kirkish Lothario anymore, but it's been a while since it's been that. But yeah, 7.5. It's fine. I'll watch it again.
Todd?
I think I'm going to go with Bobby and say it's a solid 7 for me. I mostly I'm never upset watching Star Trek. Like, this hits on stuff for me for little kid Todd, for teenage Todd, for adult Todd. It makes my butthole itchy. I think I can fit. Yeah. I think I can fit at least one Riker in me. I would clutch 3 pips. That's up to 5. So I will also say 2 smoke monsters. And those
nice.
The smoke monsters are farts. So yeah, solid 7. Solid 7. It's Star Trek. It's Star Trek. Seal of approval.
Love it.
John, of course, your score doesn't count. It gets phased into a rock and then vacuum sealed, and then it's all corpses and
and then it smells real bad, like when it's on vacuum sealed,
unplugged with the USB
like
cord,
a smoke monster.
But what do you give it?
If you had said, "Hey, you're watching the Pegasus next week. What do you think you'll rate it?" And I would have been like 8, easy. Like, of course, it's the Pegasus. And now I'm gonna go with like 6.5 because I agree. I was like, oh crap, this episode is a little boring at parts, and there is a lot of missed potential there. I like what it's trying to do and the story it's trying to tell, but yeah, it could have used another draft for sure. It could use it because you've got Terry O'Quinn. Like, make it about the character. Don't just have him be a one note immediately out of the gate. Like, come on, the man, we know he, even back then, he could play very, nuanced characters, and he just doesn't in this episode, and it's too bad.
Yeah.
They did this episode much better with O'Brien and the Cardassians.
That's the thing. I kept thinking about that episode too. I'm like, man, we've seen this before, and we've seen it done well. And
even Second Chances, I think, was a better version of Riker dealing with regret.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's we've seen it done better, and it became more obvious this time to me.
It is a missed opportunity that we don't get to see the fallout from this in some sort of court martial, a JAG episode,
Sure.
a courtroom screaming match. I don't know.
Exactly.
Maybe that's the former paralegal in me.
Right.
Well, yeah, we got some comments on Twitter about this one. David Jones says, great episode with lots of potential trouble for the Federation and sadly connects with Enterprise. LOL. There we go. Some mystery connection there. Jesse from Crusher Convo says, I really felt bad for Riker in this. He felt obligated to keep it a secret as they were trained to listen to their higher officers, and it killed him to lie to Picard. But I was happy he stood up to the Admiral and did what was right. Good episode. Strange New Pod, I'm assuming Julian over there said all-time classic. And Judd, first time commenting, I think, said, this felt like the episode that taught me that even people in Starfleet can make poor decisions and learn from them. I agree. Good lessons, good themes. So our poll over on Twitter, we got 54% saying 9 or 10. Again, I understand it's a beloved episode. 38% says 7 or 8. 8% says 5 or 6, and no one rated 4 or lower.
Here's the IMDb rating. 8.5. So, Cameron, how does it feel to be so wrong?
I'm fine with my hot take. I'm fine.
I mean, a lot of 9s, mostly 9s, 33%.
All right. Well, if you want to come tell us how many Rikers you fit inside of you, you can do so on our social media at GreenShirt87. We'll find us on Twitter.
It doesn't count unless there's pictures. So
true.
Be careful out there with Rikers. He's a tall motherfucker, trust me. Facebook, Green Shirt Podcast.
You can get some swag over at shirtnerdery.com/greenshirt.
And you can find Cam and I on our other podcast, Open Pike Night, talking all things Strange New Worlds.
All right. What are we watching next week, Producer John?
Next week, we are watching Homeward.
I mean, that's got to be... it's Star Trek's Homeward Bound, right? Like when they phased through the asteroid, they accidentally left Spot and Livingston on the asteroid.
Oh, no.
And a Targ. And a Targ.
And a random Targ that was visiting. And Alexander's little spitting beetle thing.
Mm-hmm.
And Spock's Salat.
Yep.
Why not?
And so they're all talking to each other, trying to get home, trying to find their way back to the Enterprise. And it's a feel-good pet romp.
Aw.
That's great.
I'm here for it. Little Livingston... Like, yeah, Spot keeps trying to eat Livingston, and the Targ has to keep getting in his way and humping. The Targ humps everything.
There we go.
Everything that comes across.
And he gets the nickname of Riker. Yeah. Makes sense.
Will Ferrell plays the Targ.
Yeah.
It's Strays. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for coming, Todd. It was a pleasure podcast.
Yeah, great job.
Thank you so much for having
Todd.
me. This was an absolute blast.
No, I'm so sorry. Pimp your stuff. Skip right over you.
So if you want to hear me be mocked for my opinions on movies, please head over to cinemashock.net. We cover the stories behind your favorite cult and genre films. Right now, we are in the middle of our David Lynch series. It's going to be really interesting because I've never seen any David Lynch films.
Oh,
wow. We've got quickly, the structure of the show is we've got our historian, Justin, who has an encyclopedic knowledge of all things cinema. We have Gary, who has a background in musical theater. He also works for the National Wrestling Alliance for Billy Corrigan's company. And then we have stand-up writer, comedian coming in with the fresh take. That's my role on the show. But yeah, that's everywhere. And like I said, cinemashock.net for all of our links. And for covering the entire Star Trek franchise in chronological order, you can find my show at Computer Resume on all of the things. Computer Resume podcast. Google it. You'll find me. Right now, we've got our interview with Mr. Todd Stashwick up. We are in the midst of downloading a bunch of bonus material from this summer, including some things from Trek Long Island, a couple of prepared bits, some fun stuff. And I will go ahead and release the name of the very special guest for episode 1 of season 2 of Strange New Worlds. We are rejoined for the 3rd time by the lovely and talented Bonnie Gordon from Star Trek Prodigy. She comes back to, again, for the 3rd time. She came on for Enterprise, Discovery. Now she's here for Strange New Worlds. But yeah, she and I had a wonderful, wonderful discussion about that first episode of season 2 of Strange New Worlds. So check that out. We've also got a couple of other Star Trek cast members already booked for their appearance on our, what is our season 8 of our podcast. And again, you can find us on all the things at Computer Resume podcast, wherever you get your podcasts.
Perfect.
Fantastic.
All right. Well,
Thanks, everybody. I got to run.
All right.
Have a good night.
Thanks,
Love y'all.
Rob.
Bye. Good job, Todd.
Bye,
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, Rob. Good luck bowling.
Isn't there something else you have to do?
I'll be on the bridge.